Think about how many hours you lose every single week just moving files around, renaming documents, or trying to summarize endless reports. It's kind of ridiculous, right? It is quite literally the tedious manual labor of the digital age. Well, welcome everyone to this explainer where we are going to unpack the ultimate beginner's guide to setting up Claude Cowork. We're looking at Chapter 1 of the Claude Cowork Masterclass today, and honestly, we are putting an absolute end to those manual chores. If you have ever wanted an AI assistant that doesn't just casually chat with you, but actually sits down at your digital desk and physically does the heavy lifting for you, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to take you from absolute zero to having a fully functioning, automated assistant ready to organize your digital life. And please, don't worry about needing deep technical knowledge for this. Seriously, if you can install a basic app on your smartphone, you can absolutely do this.
So here is our quick builder's blueprint for today. Meet your new assistant, preparing your digital workspace, the installation process, setting up safe boundaries, your first coworker task, and finally, troubleshooting beginner issues. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. Meet your new assistant.
Okay, before we install a single file on your computer, we really need to understand exactly what we're bringing into our workflow. This is a fundamental shift in how we interact with artificial intelligence. We're moving from passive conversation to active delegation. Have you ever felt like you're doing all the heavy lifting even when you're using AI? Because when you use Claude in a regular web browser, it's really like chatting with a very smart consultant. You ask one question, you get one answer, and then, well, you still have to manually copy and paste the text or upload individual files one by one. It's helpful, for sure, but it's slow. Actually, scratch that. It's highly inefficient for big tasks. Claude Desktop with the Cowork feature is an entirely different beast. It acts like an intern sitting directly at your computer. It reads your files, executes multi-step automated tasks completely in the background, and writes the finished results exactly where you need them. You just give it a mission and it goes to work while you focus your energy on other, much more important things.
Section 2. Preparing your digital workspace. To ensure a completely flawless installation, we've got to first verify that our physical hardware and software subscriptions are actually ready for the job. I mean, you wouldn't hire a new assistant without giving them a proper desk, right? Let's start with our Mac users. Check your system by clicking that Apple logo in the top left corner of your screen and selecting About this Mac. You need to confirm you have an Apple Silicon chip. That means an M1, M2, M3, or M4 processor. Why does this matter so much? Because these specific Apple Silicon chips have the dedicated neural architecture required to run these heavy, continuous background processes smoothly, without completely frying your battery. If your system says Intel Core i5 or something similar, unfortunately, older Intel Macs simply cannot run the Cowork feature. You can still use the basic chat app, but Cowork is off the table. Oh, and you'll also need a recent Mac OS, 3 gigabytes of free disk space, and a solid internet connection. All right, for our Windows users, the requirements are somewhat similar. And while it might sound a bit technical at first, checking your Windows version literally takes 10 seconds in your system settings. You're going to need 3 gigabytes of free space and admin rights to run the installation. Most standard x64 architecture PCs will work perfectly fine. And interestingly enough, ARM64 support was added very recently, which is a really exciting new frontier for AI on Windows laptops, even if it might be slightly experimental on a few select devices right now. But here's the kicker. The specific edition of Windows 10 or Windows 11 you are running is the absolutely critical make or break factor for this entire setup. You must, and I mean must, be running the Pro, Enterprise, or Education editions. Let me make this absolutely clear. If you are on Windows Home Edition, CalWork will not work, period. The reason for this comes down to a specific technology called Microsoft Hyper-V. Think of Hyper-V as the heavy-duty industrial foundation required to build the secure, locked room that Claude works inside. The Home Edition of Windows simply doesn't have this foundational architecture built into it. So, if you're on Windows Home, Claude politely refuses to move in because the security just isn't up to its highly rigorous standards. Now, you can definitely still install the desktop app and use the basic chat features, but to unlock CalWork's advanced file handling capabilities, you will need to either upgrade your operating system to Windows Pro or switch over to an Apple Silicon Mac. Now, let's talk about the subscription requirements. To unlock the Cowork tab in the app, you must be a paying subscriber. The free tiers simply will not work for this advanced feature set. For anyone starting this explainer and wanting to follow along, the $20 a month Pro plan is exactly what you need. And look, rather than seeing this as a paywall, think of it as the ultimate value unlock. You are essentially paying the cost of a few cups of coffee for a highly capable assistant that works 24/7, never takes a day off, and handles your absolute most tedious digital chores. It covers all beginner and intermediate workflows perfectly. Now, sure, there are max plans ranging up to $200 for heavy users running massive automations and team plans for businesses, but you really just need that $20 Pro plan to follow along with us today. Section 3, the installation process.
Okay, now that we've checked our blueprints and confirmed our workspace is fully ready, let's actually download the software. Please be incredibly careful here. Make sure you only ever use the official claude.ai/download link. Do not grab it from the Microsoft Store or some random third-party website, as those might lack the Cowork feature entirely. Mac users, your steps are almost suspiciously easy. First, grab the DMG installer file from that official download site. Open your Downloads folder, double-click the DMG, and simply drag the Claude icon over to your Applications folder. Honestly, dragging that icon is essentially the moment you officially hire your new assistant. Once it copies over, open it up. If your Mac throws up a security warning asking if you're sure you want to open it, just click Open anyway in your settings and sign in with your account.
Windows users, your path is just as smooth. Download the official exe installer directly from the site, double-click to run it, and when Windows inevitably asks if you want to allow this app to make changes to your device, well, this is the psychological moment you are unlocking the power of local desktop AI. You confidently click Yes. Follow the basic on-screen prompts, hit Install, and click Finish. After that, simply open the app from your Start menu and log in with your credentials. It really is that straightforward. Section 4. Setting up safe boundaries. With the app installed and open, you'll see a few tabs at the top of the window for Chat, Code, and importantly, Cowork. Clicking this Cowork tab initiates a background process that is the absolute secret to Claude's safe file handling. So let's talk about security for a second. When you first click that tab, the system immediately begins downloading a virtual machine. If you aren't familiar with the term, a virtual machine is essentially an isolated, highly secure mini-computer that runs entirely inside your actual computer. Think of it as a digital hazmat suit. Claude does all of its thinking, its processing, and its working exclusively inside this protected bubble. This ensures that it cannot accidentally touch passwords, system files, or absolutely anything else you haven't explicitly given it permission to see. I absolutely love this analogy from our source material. Imagine you hire a contractor to renovate one room in your house. You give them a key to that room and only that room. This perfectly captures the dynamic we're setting up. Just like a contractor hired to paint your kitchen, Claude cannot wander into your personal bedrooms or start rummaging through your sensitive file cabinets. You hand it the key to one specific room, and it works only in that room. This guarantees absolute peace of mind. You don't ever have to worry about the AI accidentally emailing your sensitive tax returns to a colleague, because to Claude, those tax returns literally do not exist. You remain in total, unquestionable control of its access at all times. Now, whatever you do, don't panic when you see a download progress bar the very first time you open the Cowork tab. This is just that virtual machine we talked about installing. Think of this process as your new AI assistant moving its heavy desk into your office. It is roughly 2 gigabytes in size, and depending on your internet connection, it's going to take anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes. The great news is this is a one-time only friction point. Every single future session you start will open instantly, ready for immediate execution. Just be super sure you don't close the app while it's doing this crucial initial setup.
To maintain that strict contractor boundary we just talked about, a massive best practice is to never give Claude access to your entire Documents folder on day one. Please don't do that. Instead, use the Add folder settings inside Cowork to give it access only to a designated workspace. This isn't just about safety, by the way. It is the ultimate productivity hack for working with AI. A fantastic structure is to create a main Claude work folder, and inside that, subfolders for reports, organized files, and logs. Why this specific structure? Well, the logs folder lets you easily check its past work. The organized folder keeps its final outputs perfectly clean and separated from your raw data. Keep it compartmentalized like this, and your digital life will stay completely pristine.
Section 5. Your first Cowork task. All right, everything is officially built. Our software is installed, our safety boundaries are locked in via the virtual machine, so let's finally put our new assistant to work. This is the climax of our setup, our true hello world moment. To prepare for this, we're going to create a brand new, simple folder directly on your desktop and name it Claude_test. Next, dump 5 to 10 random, messy, non-sensitive files into it. Seriously, make it super messy. Use some old PDFs, a random image, a sample spreadsheet. We really want to see the magic happen. Finally, go into the Cowork settings and formally grant Claude permission to see inside this specific test folder. Now take a really close look at the language used in this exact prompt. You just type or paste this text right into the Cowork message box in the center of your screen. Notice the highly directive tone here. We are not asking for creative advice, and we're not having a polite conversation. We are issuing a direct operational command. Organize the files, create specific subfolders, sort the files by type, and then generate a brand new text file called summary.txt that lists everything you just did. This is exactly how you speak to an automated assistant. You define the exact parameters, you set the goal, and you let the system figure out the operational steps to get there.
And here is the ultimate safety net. When you hit enter on that prompt, Claude does not immediately start aggressively moving things around. First, it pauses. It analyzes the task and shows you a highly detailed plan of exactly what it intends to do with your files. And it will wait indefinitely for your explicit authorization. Seeing that plan pop up on the screen is honestly an incredible feeling of empowerment. It really reinforces that Claude is your assistant, not some rogue overlord. It has absolutely no autonomy to execute without that final human click. Only when you review the plan and confidently click Proceed will it start to physically sort your files and generate that summary report.
Section 6. Troubleshooting beginner issues.
Even with a perfect blueprint, sometimes the paint spills, right? If you're following along and something didn't work exactly as described, don't worry at all. Let's quickly reframe these common roadblocks as minor speed bumps. If you simply don't see the Cowork tab at the top of your app, double-check that you are actually signed into a paid Pro account. If Windows tells you Cowork isn't supported, remember that you likely have the Home Edition and need to run that upgrade. If your Mac completely blocks the app from opening, just hop into your privacy and security settings and click Open anyway. And finally, if you hit a frustrating 403 error when trying to log in, this is just a brief token sync issue. To fix it, just sign out of the desktop app, log into Claude.ai on your web browser first to refresh your credentials, and then reopen the desktop app. Boom, fixed. To wrap up this explainer, let's really cement the incredible value of what you've just accomplished. You haven't just installed another chat app today. You've built an automated, sandboxed, highly capable digital employee right on your local machine. Remember our key takeaways. Cowork is fundamentally different from browser chatting. It is a desktop-only application requiring modern hardware like Apple Silicon or Windows Pro. It requires that $20 a month Pro plan, but honestly, it pays for itself almost instantly and saves time. It operates entirely inside a secure virtual machine that you downloaded once. And above all else, it respects your authority, making you explicitly grant folder access and always asking for your proceed approval before moving a single byte of data. You have successfully navigated the entire setup process. You've gathered the system requirements, established your safe virtual machine boundaries, and successfully run your very first live file automation. Just imagine the possibilities moving forward. Sorting messy expense reports, summarizing gigabytes of deep research, or drafting complex emails based purely on your local private notes. You have just bought back countless hours of your life by delegating the digital drudgery. Your assistant is sitting right there at its desk, fully installed, respectfully waiting for your instructions. So the only question left for you is, what amazing thing will you build first?